Will lifting weights make you big and bulky as a woman? Especially heavy weights. Should you be using lighter weights and doing higher reps to get that lean, toned look? I'm Rachel, personal trainer and online coach. And over the last 6 years, I've helped countless women get fit, get strong, feel better and more confident in their bodies. So should you be avoiding the heavy lifting? Before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of my videos. Now, the first thing to note, whether you want to tone up or stack on some serious size, both of those actually mean building muscle. Yes, getting toned means building muscle because you need a level of muscle mass to actually have a toned looking physique. You will then look more toned if you also have a reduction in body fat. But getting massive and getting toned both require you to build muscle. Now, in order to build muscle, the key thing that is required is mechanical tension. And simply put, that is the stress experienced by the muscle fibers when force is applied. And that generally occurs when you're lifting weights close to failure. Generally, it's agreed that that can occur between 5 reps and 30 reps. Just as long as you are close to failure, 2 to 3 reps in reserve for that rep range. So that means using a weight that is suitable at 5 reps and also using a weight that's suitable at 30 reps to get that same response. And obviously the load you're going to use for 5 reps is generally going to be heavier than the load you'll use for 30 reps. But as long as you are pushing yourself close to failure in both of those instances and throughout the whole spectrum, that's actually what is more relevant for causing mechanical tension and therefore muscular growth. So you're probably thinking, well, if that's what's required for muscular growth and Rachel's always telling me to lift as heavy and go close to failure, then doesn't that then mean I'm going to pack on loads of muscle and get big and bulky? No. Because whilst that's the process that's happening within your muscles when you're lifting heavy close to failure, other things are required. It takes a lot of time, effort and energy to build muscle. Otherwise, everybody that goes to the gym will be walking around absolutely jacked. And the men out there wouldn't be stressing that their muscles aren't growing quick enough. You cannot accidentally get too big or bulky. I would almost argue that you have to be more specific with your diet than you do to lose body fat. You have to be really dialed in with what you're eating. Your training, you have to be so focused, training with intensity, effort, consistency, rest and recovery. Yes, genetics also play a part. Some people will have more of a natural tendency to build muscle more quickly, more easily, or in certain areas. And that's just as somebody that's building muscle naturally. Because the other factor to consider is there are people that will take performance enhancing drugs in order to assist growing their physique. And that's not just men, that's women too. So that's not to say that everybody with a lot of muscle is taking something. Absolutely not. There are plenty of people that build muscle naturally. And plenty of people that will build muscle naturally and then take something to assist to take it to the next level. Regardless, you have to put a lot of time, effort and energy into building muscle. It cannot happen by accident. So you will never just get too big. Now with that, it is also still subjective. People might think they wouldn't want to have as much muscle as I have. Whereas I'm still trying actively to put on muscle. It's a conscious thing, it's something you've got to work on. Now I've been training for 10 years, but only really been taking it seriously for the last 6 or 7. And for the last 6 years, I was training with a man who looked like this. We trained exactly the same. I don't look like him. I haven't built the same amount of muscle mass as him. And yes, he's been able to lift heavier. Sometimes he may have worked harder. But I train pretty hard when I'm in the gym. I've actively been trying to build my strength and build my muscle, and it's a slow process. So many of the times when women think they're getting too bulky or they're worried about getting bulky, what you actually need to focus on is your diet. Because if you do start lifting weights and you do put on a little bit of muscle, but you don't lose any body fat, then you are going to give the illusion of looking bigger. So the two go hand in hand. Work on your strength, lift heavy, build some muscle, but then also eat appropriately to ensure that your body fat percentages are sufficient to then see that muscle and see that muscle tone and have that lean toned look that you want. Now let's just go back to the 5 to 30 rep range thing. Most of the time, I won't program any more than 15 reps as a general rule for most of my female clients. And that's usually because once you start getting into those higher rep ranges, a few things generally happen. You get bored, disinterested, you choose a weight that still isn't heavy enough for that rep range, and we're still thinking of working close to failure, so it's often ineffective. You stop because you're feeling the burn as opposed to getting close to failure. And so I find it's more productive to use between 5 and 15 reps as a general rule, just to ensure focus, ensure you can push hard enough and avoid junk volume. That's not to say you can't do higher reps. There can be a time and a place for it. But I much prefer my female clients to focus on between 5 and 15 reps, depending on the exercise and the training phase. So still focus on whatever rep range you're doing, going heavy enough for that rep range where you're working 2 to 3 reps in reserve. That means you could only do another 2 to 3 reps if you were absolutely pushed to, whilst keeping decent form. Then you're working hard enough to slowly build some muscle, which is going to help build that physique that you want. Manage your diet to ensure you keep your body fat percentages at a level where you can then see that muscle and remain consistent over time. All that's going to happen by lifting heavy is you're going to get stronger, you're going to get more confident, you're going to start building a body that you actually like. You're going to feel better, you're going to look better, you're going to show up for yourself better. You will not get too big and bulky. I repeat that, you will not get too big and bulky overnight by accident without some serious thought, dedication and action towards that goal. And it can take years if that is your goal. Hope this helps.